Are you a narcissist? Only if you're altruistic also. Do you see yourself as like completely altruistic? Then it could only be because there is narcissism that exists in you also. There are oftentimes these buzzwords that become like part of like pop culture, and they're oftentimes misused, but they become a term that can be used to, diminish, degrade. But you got to be a person who doesn't fall for the labels. Why? Because once you fall for the label, then you're subject to the limitation. Let's grow. I want you to, if you're driving, obviously you're not able to do this, but you can imagine in your mind, it's a pretty simple illustration. But if you can write, then I want you to just draw a horizontal line. And on your sheet of paper, that's just what I did. Draw a horizontal line. And on the left, I want you to write in altruistic. And on the right, I want you to write narcissistic. Okay. And this is this represents a continuum. And the reality is that every person exists somewhere on this continuum of altruism and narcissism. Everybody does. No one is beyond it, okay? No one is beyond it. Everybody does fall on this continuum. And then in the middle, there is what's called fair exchange. Okay. The reason why I say that everybody exists on this continuum is because of a principle, a law that says that in order for anything to exist, the opposite must exist also. That's not Courtland saying that. That is law. That's principle. In order for anything to exist, you must also have the opposite. So you can't have an up without a down. There's no in without an out. There's no right without a left. There's no light without dark. There's no success without failure. It is also true that there is no altruism without narcissism. There can't be narcissism without altruism. Beyond these, pop therapist labels, where someone just finds a definition that kind of fits what they want to say and it fits the frame of a person that they want to describe. Let's actually look at it and see that it's true that we all have both. But the idea is to be in a balance where we find the spot or place of fair exchange. So in the place of altruism or altruistic is where you'll find a lot of guilt and shame. Altruism is ultimately like this idea that I've done, and we find ourselves moving towards guilt and shame. We move towards guilt and shame when we perceive that we have done more harm than we've done good. When we perceive that we're somehow out of balance to the negative, and so we have to make up for what we consider to be the wrongs that we've done, or the quote unquote sins and so forth. And so when we exist in this place, it produces feelings of guilt and also shame. When we're on the far left, far left of the continuum, it's where we find feelings of or beliefs of, I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving. There's something wrong with me. I'm not worthy. These are and sometimes it's described as like humility and humbleness, but I think that you would agree here, like that goes beyond. Right? I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving. There's something missing, there's something wrong with me. These are feelings that are generated as a result of a belief that you've done more harm than you've done good. And so as a result of that, you will look to make up for that feeling of incompleteness or missing. You'll look to make up for it. So you'll find people just give it away. They give their service away, right? They have no boundaries. They won't stand for what they believe in. They will, like people can exist in relationship with them like however, And it's like they take it because they feel like that's what they deserve. The opposite end of that spectrum is narcissism. Narcissism is essentially a belief of superiority. So you'll find beliefs like I'm superior, I'm better than you, like the world owes me. The world owes me. There's also this desire to get without giving. Narcissism really operates from a place of expecting, expecting where they have not planted, expecting return where they have not made investment. It's like it would be like a farmer expecting a harvest when they've planted nothing. That's narcissism. Superiority complex, I'm better than you, the world owes me, and I can get something for nothing. Altruism is a view of I will give without getting. Okay? So altruism, I'll give without getting something in return. Narcissism, a viewpoint of I can get something without giving. Both are on this continuum, and as human beings, we exist on the continuum someplace. In the middle, there is fair exchange. And fair exchange essentially says that I am of value, I'm honorable, I have something to offer the world, I have something to offer the marketplace, and I allow and am in position to be compensated beautifully or handsomely well for the value that I offer the marketplace, for the problems that I solve. The problems that I solve, the solutions that I provide have a value in the marketplace, and I position myself for fair exchange. It's the view that what I have to give and what I have to offer is of value. And it so happens that it exists at this intersection of altruism and narcissism. The balance of those creates or leads to fair exchange. So for example, are you a person who offers service? Maybe you own your own business or side hustle, so forth, and you know that what you do is unique. You know that what you do is valuable. You pour yourself into it. You bend over backwards to make sure that it happens. But then when it's time for you to be paid, it's time for you to be compensated, you shy away from or you diminish yourself when it's time to ask for payment, or when you're asked what your prices are, what your price is. Do you notice some hesitation in your countenance? Do you notice your chest kind of, for me, chest tightens up, oh, I don't know, and so then it becomes this, oh man, I don't want to lose the business. I don't want to lose the opportunity. So, what's the number I can give that would, to ensure that they say yes? And how often have you had people say yes to your price without hesitation, without blinking, and then part of you is like, ooh, I should have asked for more. I had an experience recently, a new relationship with a coach, and man, she has been, ooh-wee. She's good. She's good. She's so good. Anyway, when we were, I sent her an email to inquire about, getting coaching from her. She responds, sure. And then she said, so here's my price. And then she went on to say, if that's more than you want to invest, I know someone who may also be good. She had no energy on it. Okay. But her price was, yeah. But you know what I said today after I finished the session with her? I was like, I don't based on what she's helping me see, I don't pay her enough. It's just been phenomenal. Anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there, didn't I? Okay, I'm back. Her willingness to just state, this is my price. And it's because she knew that she would deliver a service, perhaps, that would have me having that conversation with myself today, that even that is not enough for the value that she's delivered. I'm glad that she is in fair exchange. So, see, sometimes, people are concerned about, you charge, I charge too much. And what about those people who will look at your price and say, what? You charge how much? It's just not your person. Don't cater to them. See, in order for you to get that person as a client, you would have to diminish yourself. You would have to move to a place of altruism in order to secure them as a client. You would have to diminish yourself. Now you have guilt and shame about the price that you charge. They scoff at your price. This is not your person, and you don't have to have any energy on it. Make sense? But it's also true that you hear a lot in the industry, this idea of big ticket. I know people in industry who are just excited about what they can get a person to pay, even though what they deliver is, it's at least apparent to me that there was no time or thought that went into it. They were just excited about what they could get another person to pay. And those are people who, particularly now with the advent of, Chat GPT and so forth, we find them less and less. They're moving further and further away. There's nowhere for them to run. There's nowhere for them to hide at this point. That's narcissism, the idea of getting something for nothing. I want to see you be in a place of fair exchange, which is a balance of both. That's why we call this episode, Are You an Altruist or a Narcissist? I hope so. Because if you can have the balance of both, you find yourself in fair exchange, which recognizes that you are honorable, that you have value, that you bring value to the marketplace. And as a result of that, you deserve to be paid beautifully and handsomely well. I hope that helps. If it does, don't keep it a secret. Let someone know that this podcast exists. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to join my email list at courtlandwarren.com/opt-in. That'll put you on my email list, and that way I can communicate with you directly rather than be dependent on the different platforms. I appreciate the platforms because likely without them, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be on this. I just like the idea that I can communicate to you directly when we have offers and classes and the latest episodes of this podcast. You're awesome. You're remarkable. And we will see you next time. Appreciate you listening.